I have no problem going to karaoke and singing like diva songs in front of lots of people, even though I'm not a very good singer, but somehow this is like a different level of musician. So I'm going to be reading a personal essay that I wrote this afternoon. You remember at the beginning of Train Spotting where Ewan McGregor suggests that you choose life, choose a job, choose a sports utility vehicle, and a flat screen, and a knitting club or whatever? Ewan's not choosing life though, he's choosing heroin. And I'm choosing Microsoft Windows Pinball, the 3D space adventure. Any kid who grew up in the 90s knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. Over in the startup menu, under either games or accessories, that adorable beckoning shining silver ball icon. Well, I grew up in the 90s, and some rough napkin math indicates I probably sacrificed at least 7 cumulative months of my adolescence to Windows Pinball. Moving away to college and having new unmentionable distractions saved me from what might have been guaranteed cognitive atrophy and probably damnation in most human religions for worshiping the idol of pinball. But last Monday, after a decade after I played my last game, I had the weird idea to try playing around, you know, for old time's sake. And that, my friends, is when I surrendered my life to addiction. Just for the record, before we go further here, I am an extremely productive member of society. I work both a full-time and a part-time job. I'm a participator. I am a joiner. I'm either in or have recently been part of a writing group, a Jane Austen book club, a Gravity's Rainbow read-along, an epic fantasy meetup, 3 different blogging communities, a women's mentorship program, a Buddhist magazine, a Japanese language exchange, and a handbell choir. I am currently on stage at the Asian American Writers Workshop open mic, even though I'm not even Asian. You might say I'm a model of industry and productivity. But since Windows Pinball has come back into my life, things have begun to unravel. The world away from my computer screen is a pale, blanched wasteland of unblinking lights. The soundtrack of real life, toneless and unschizophrenic. Achievement has boiled down to garnering myself more than 3 yellow dots in that ring of virtual pinball rank promotions. When given projects besides another drop target mission, you know, like work from my boss, I have become listless and depressed. I resent friends whose company I once enjoyed because I have committed myself to drinks or dinner dates with them during my precious post-workday pinball hours. There's nothing else on my mind except how soon I can run home and play one more game. Earlier today, I asked a friend if it was the 19th. When she told me it was the 23rd, I realized that somehow I had lost 4 days of my life. 4 days! And you know what the worst part of it is? If I had hit 2 of those 3 requisite wormholes in the science mission when I lost my last ball this afternoon, do you know how hard it is to hit wormholes by choice? I was so angry, I forced myself to close the pinball box and write this goddamn essay. So why is 3D space pinball so addicting? As I've tried to explain to countless people over the last week, since my buried passion reared its bouncing head, 3D space pinball isn't just a pinball game, it's an adventure story. You, the lowly cadet, blast through the dangerous world of hyperspace. Whatever the fuck hyperspace means, but as long as I get my hyperspace bonus. If you have a shiny little round silver spacecraft, upgrading attack bumpers and earning promotions as you complete exciting space missions like bug hunts and re-entry training, all on the greater quest to someday destroy the xenomorphs. It's more than your 3 balls at stake, it's the fate of the entire galaxy. A compelling storyline all wrapped up in flappers and brightly blinking lights, epileptically complemented by a synthesized soundtrack appropriate for a 1970s Cartoon Network rerun sequence of hero running down hallway pursued by villain. In order to log in pinball hours, I've learned to watch TV by ear, following plot lines entirely by recognizing character voices so I don't have to look away from the screen. In my dreams, all the characters are played by giant yellow drop targets for me to knock over. This very afternoon, I sat across from a very dear friend of mine at a cafe table at our prearranged writing date and glibly advised her about my most effective strategies for blasting through the first draft of her novel. Meanwhile, on the other side of my netbook screen, I was, you guessed it, destroying xenomorphs. You, like me and other incredibly cool people, might have that problem where when you get really, really excited about something, you start to sing a song about it. So yeah, there's a xenomorph song. And if those familiar with Andrew Lloyd Webber may recognize the unholy inspiration, it goes like this. Xenomorphs, xenomorphs, I must destroy all the xenomorphs. Sadly, there's no pinball in the Infernal Vista operating system, so I can't play on my work computer. On Tuesday, when I was jonesing really hard for a quick flip after lunch, I tried to quell the descending panic of pinballlessness with inferior filler games, Bejeweled, for example, but nothing felt the same. Since Microsoft is clearly run by labradoodles and they have decided to discontinue the 3D pinball game, it seems like gradually, as I get older, it will be increasingly difficult to find a computer with pinball on it. This means my incredible skill would become less and less transferable. Will anything ever make me feel this way again? Do I have a pinball problem? Do I have a pinball problem? How do you figure out if you have an addiction? Well, my friends in substance abuse recovery programs tell me if you have an addiction, it started out as fun, then it became fun with problems, then it became all problems. Now let me tell you, from deepest and warmest cockles of my heart, 3D space pinball is only fun, okay? In fact, the only real problems in my life right now are the things interfering with my fun of xenomorphic destruction, like my job and my former friends who keep insisting that I give this up cold turkey. But my dad, who's probably in his lazy boy in Massachusetts playing Windows Spider Solitaire at this very moment, didn't raise no quitter. That's really all I have to say tonight. Now, readers who follow me, let's try to keep this as short as possible out of respect for the xenomorphs.